Hey, how's it going, guys? Young Ahk here, and this episode is with me and one of my closest friends slash mentors, Jason, Coach Jay. And in this episode, we talk about, his journey with cancer, his journey coming to Islam, his life story, a little bit about his life. And then I think we talked about other topics such as music and the ego you have in rap, and we talked about it a lot. I really like this episode, and if you guys like it, please comment, like, subscribe to the channel, and if you have any other guests you would like to recommend, let me know. And if you enjoyed the episode, please share it with friends and loved ones. I think there's a lot of value in this episode. So without further ado, let's get into it. All the talking.
Nah, you said it all.
What's going on, guys? Young Ahk here. I got one of my closest friends. I would consider him a mentor as well, Jason.
Hi.
I never asked you your age, actually. How old are you?
41 years young.
Okay, you look young. You look
Oh, man, I appreciate
late
it, man.
30s.
Shit, found the youth.
Yeah.
Black don't crack.
So we actually met when I was doing photography. He hit me up on Instagram. He's an artist as well, so he hit me up. I used to shoot artists, as you can see. And
Shoot artists.
yeah.
Not shoot artists. Just very clear.
Yeah, I was a photographer, videographer, and he hit me up for a session, and we just hit it off. He took me out to eat with his girl after, something not a lot of clients do. And we just connected and got to know each other, and it's been like 5-6 months.
It's been beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I met you when I had cancer. I did that shoot
Yeah.
with a colostomy bag on me, and now we done with it.
Cancer-free.
I mean, yeah. We still rocking. You were a big help in making it through it. I felt your energy. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not common, but shit, it wasn't common for me either. But to ask people, that I do photo shoots and stuff like that to get something to eat with my family. But there was just something about you. I was right, see?
You were right.
I was right. And if you watching and you know him, you know you was right too.
Yeah.
And you're not right if you didn't take him out to eat after he gave you a photo shoot. So stop that. Stop that.
I think the realest clients I've had is you and Soundmine.
Wow.
And I'm gonna have Soundmine on in the next one. He's in Hawaii right now.
Oh, word?
With his fam, yeah.
Nice. But I'm gonna tell you, anybody who get a photo shoot from me, I seen the photos. Y'all look great and y'all beautiful people. So he compliments what you already have. Take this brother out to lunch. He deserve it. You know it. Just saying.
Especially the females, nah.
Nah. Take him out to lunch for real. We're not doing the dollar menu. Take him out to lunch. Preferably a halal spot. All right, come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
Pizza.
Come on.
Yeah.
Take him out.
But I know a little bit about your life. We talked about a lot, but I want to start from the beginning. We might not get the whole thing in this episode.
Yeah.
But I'd say we make this about 30-35 minutes.
Bet.
And whatever we can get, we can get.
Bet.
So let's start. You were born in New York, right?
Yeah. So I was born in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying, in the hospital.
I'm gonna put the windows down.
Yeah.
It's getting hot.
Yeah.
Pause.
So got it. I was born in the Bronx, a hospital in the Bronx, but I grew up in Yonkers. So I mean, my childhood was in Yonkers. Kind of came up. My whole family was together until they weren't. And that kind of changed. Family structure has a lot to do with a lot of people's lives. That kind of changed a lot. Drugs took a major part of my household. And then that changed me. And let's just say, at that point, a young boy with no guidance at home, when people are chasing the monkey on their back, there's people in the streets who became my family. Quote unquote gangs and stuff like that. They taught me a lot. And taught me how to do things for myself, but there's also a price you have to pay. Long story short, there's no regrets, but God, Allah has a way of making your story what it is so you can reach other people. I did 4 years in adolescent facilities and came out when I was 18 with the stipulations of when I was 18, based on how I was tried in court, to do 5 under stipulations in an adult halfway house afterwards, which I wind up doing.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what got you into Juvy?
It's an interesting story. Sometimes I disclose that with people. I mean, if you don't know, I'll tell you off camera. It's one of those things that's personal, but the only reason why is just that I want to influence people. But if anybody knows me or wants to have an interaction with me, I'll tell them. I tell people all the time. I'm transparent. But we dealing with the world, and this is going on the world platform. Just know it was serious. It was serious, and usually when people really do stuff, they don't really talk about it publicly. My man did 21 years as an adult, really doing things, and there's people who did a 1 to 3 for whatever, and they stayed in their cell, held it down, as they should, but they come out here and talk reckless about what they did do. They didn't, like, you know, when you really doing stuff, you're not talking about it. And
so
I'm not doing stuff anymore, so.
Yeah, so growing up, you know, you have drugs going on in your house. Do you have any siblings? Or?
Yeah, but they were much older than me, so, like, much older than me. Like, the closest in age was 10 years older than me. And then, like, 12, 15 years older than me. So, I mean... Brothers, sisters? Yeah, brothers and sisters, yeah. So one of my brothers, he lives around the corner now. Yeah. So he's my oldest brother. But yeah, so they didn't really get affected. They got affected from the family breaking up. Yeah. And we had different mothers, just the same father. So so at the it was me. Pretty much they got older and they didn't want to hang out with little me. So it was basically just me and my parents until that happened. And then it was just me with moms.
You got into Juvy at 18, you said?
No, I got out, when I was 18. I went in when I was 14. But then I was in foster care for a little bit. And then,
what was that like?
Oh, my goodness. The abuse, the things that you had to witness, the physical abuse.
In New York City?
Yeah. So, it never really happened to me so much because I was violent. So people but because of that, they didn't want to place me, but they didn't understand why I was violent because I witnessed so many things go on. I mean, these are supposed to be foster parents. And in my situation, and people could relate, and there's some people who just like, oh, how does this happen? No, trust me, it happens. I was a kid, and there were foster parents, and had a foster sister and everything. And, you know, they would think people were asleep, and we knew the drill as kids. We smart. They used to invite the little girl and go in the room and blah, blah, blah. I mean, you could figure that out. And because they didn't have no family, you know, you make these kids your slaves and stuff like that. So... And then they physically abused the boys and stuff like that. But I lashed out and fought back, and I became like a person where he can't be placed. Yeah.
So I noticed about you a lot. You have a lot of confidence. And where do you think that comes from? Like your dad or your mom? Or like
I'm a cuss on this, all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
It came from being in them facilities for 4 years straight and them telling me I wasn't going to be shit. I just couldn't believe that because I was gifted before this. I was on the honor roll before my family split apart and everything. So, but you stay in places so long that you believe it. But it took hard work getting this confidence. And, you know, it's a never-ending process. There's certain things in my life when I'm new, you know, you're not confident about. I just try to fake it till I make it. Don't let people see me sweat. But it's something that was earned. It's not something I always had. Some people were born with it. Unfortunately, I wasn't. It was something that was earned that I had to work hard at. And a lot of that had to do with rehabilitating myself and learning more about myself and being true to the men in the mirror and developing true self-esteem, not the fake stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So you're 18, you get out of the Juvy facility?
Yeah. It was in a couple, but I got
So what happened next? Like,
I went to a halfway house, different part of New York, Westchester County, but different.
Westchester?
Yeah. It was a different part of Westchester County. It was like kind of like Larchmont or Rashad. I wasn't familiar with that area. So I went there. I was the youngest kid there. I was the kid, like, compared to the grown man. And I made a couple mistakes because I thought that's what I had to do, but I was free. And luckily, I had some people around me to kind of show me right from wrong and said, you can't do this, Jay. If you do this, you get locked up and you go to adult jail. So they taught me some life skills, and eventually, on good behavior terms, I moved on. Met this dude I know. We got an apartment together, and then finally, I can't live with nobody. You know what I'm saying? If it's not a female, like, or somebody I'm dating. So I wound up living on my own after I stacked my chips, and we went our separate ways, but we kept in contact. And then been on my own since, unless I dated females, and then they came to stay with me, but I never stayed with them. And then now I found the love of my life, you know. So, and now we have a place together.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All because of God. Yeah.
Yeah.
But So, talk about like your journey, like from then till when you got cancer.
Yeah, so that's crazy is that I remember like some of the stuff that I seen when I was away was so wild. And I woke up from cold sweats for 20 plus years, not because things that was done to me. You know, I guess there's different forms of trauma. I was never a victim.
Yeah.
I woke up from cold sweats to the things that I had to do to other people to actually be here with you right now. And things that like, you go through these conflictions of like, you know, not knowing what right or wrong is, but knowing that you survived based on you had to be something else in there, because me being the kind of person I am in society now, ain't gonna fly in there. You're not gonna make it. You're either gonna lose your mind or they're gonna take your manhood or whatever else have. So you kind of have to act different. But then you come out and you become sensitized to humanity, as you should, as human beings should. And you start to feel terrible about the sins that you committed. It's like it's conflict, because if I didn't commit those sins, I wouldn't be here as a man, like like it's still intact with my manhood and everything else, which is crazy. Or I would have cuts in my face and buck 50s and stuff like that. So it becomes a deep conflict. So I remember getting out, asking like, damn, why did I have to go through that? So then you talk about cancer, then I get cancer, and it's just like, definitely not the worst thing I went through in the world. They told me I had a certain amount of time, a couple months to live after they diagnosed me with stage 3C colon cancer.
I mean, that must, like, for different people, or most people, that when that hit, like, you got 2 months to live.
Yeah.
I feel like most people would just quit and be like, all right, like.
But that's the thing. It's like tying it back to that time. I mean, you're not guaranteed. There's people who don't come out of them places, even though it's a youth place. It's wild. So
survival instinct kicked in.
Well, I looked at it as like this. I think I said this. There was a dude who interviewed me who did some Fed time when I had cancer. Cancer was probably like the 5th hardest thing I went through. Like there was 4 things before that, and I'm still standing. And I turned that poison into progress. So in my head, I was so used to it that it's like, all right, we got to do it again. It was a different kind of challenge, a different kind of monster. It was scary, you know. I'm not gonna lie, but. You know, there's fear in everything. When I fight, like in a ring, there's fear. It's like, what's your reaction to fear is what's more important. Like, okay, everybody who walks in that ring when I coach people or when I fight, everybody's scared. You fronting if you say you're not. What's your reaction to fear? It's like lust. Everybody look at the shorty, she look good. But what's your reaction to lust? So yeah, I was scared, but I remember it's almost like I had so many practice moments to drill my reaction to fear when I was away.
Your whole life prepared you for that.
And I never understood, man, why'd I have to go through this as a kid? Life was wild. And my friends used to witness the stuff I went through. It's like, yo, you could, your life's like a movie. And it's like, yeah, but I don't know why. And then this happens. And it's like I was able to tolerate it so I could sit still and figure out my purpose. So everything happens for a reason. But I found out 20 years later. So, you know, it happens in, you know, God's time. And that's important because people may not understand why something's happening to them. And we get impatient, and you may not understand. Like I waited 20 years to understand why that stuff happened to me. But I was still living, so I'm gonna find out. But it's kind of, you know, we live in an instant gratification era. Like we gotta know now, and if we don't know now, I wanted to know now too. I didn't find out till 20 years later. It was well worth it.
So you recently, some people say converted, some people say revert. Because some people believe you're.
It's revert to me. You know what I'm saying? I was always, since I came out the womb. But you know, I like to say, whether this is politically correct, I came to my senses. so
like, talk about like what brought you towards Islam.
So here's the thing: is I mean, a lot. You may not know this, but so I have my mom's side. A lot of that side is Christian. And my dad's side, a lot of them is Muslim. So I was kind of raised around both to a certain sense and knowing a little bit. I knew more about Christianity than Islam.
You were around your mom more?
Yeah. And she became a pastor later on in life. So, and then I remember going in them chemo rooms for like 6 months and seeing people happy and also seeing people's curtains get closed. Like, you know, the chemo bell went off. It's time for them to get up and go home, and they don't wake up, and they're trying to wake them up. And I remember being able to do things that other patients weren't able to do. Alhamdulillah. And the thing that was bugged out about it is that I'm doing push-ups in the chemo room with chemo in me and stuff like that. I said, there has to be something deeper than me. This ain't me. Like I have a purpose here.
At that moment.
Yeah, and I knew it. Like,
and you weren't Muslim at that.
No, and then shortly it changed after that. Like in my head, like I always was, but in my head, I'm like, I'm doing these push-ups, and I'm like, let me try to do this to kind of break up the time, because I'm in there for 6 hours, the kind of cancer I have.
Yeah.
You know, and then I take home the pump, so I got that chemo going on me for another 48 hours. Every 2 weeks. So that's 55 hours of chemo for 3 days, while most people's average work week is 40 hours for 5 days. I'm doing 55 hours of chemo in 3 days, and then re up on my bye week. And then the next 2 weeks doing it again.
3 days, not even a week.
Nah, 3 days, and then you have an off week, which I call a bye week.
Okay.
But that's when you got to work the chemo and not let the chemo work you. That's when you get up and start exercising to get your cell count back up. Because chemotherapy doesn't know the difference between good cells and bad cells. It gets your body and just wipes out everything.
All the cells,
Yeah. So, with that being said, damn, what was the question, bro? I'm sorry. This when you know this is real.
What brought you back, or what brought you to Islam?
Yeah, so I'm doing the push-ups in there, and I'm bugging out. Like, as I'm doing them, I said, let me break up the time, and I'm doing them. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this, like, because you're supposed to be weak.
Yeah.
And I was, but the minute I started to get up and do something, I felt stronger. And I'm like, this is bigger than me. I can't take credit for this.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like, I had a Quran in my house. So I started bringing it to the next chemo sessions, and I would just keep it on my lap. I wouldn't read it. And then I started to open it. You know what I'm saying? And I became more confident about.
So you started reading it.
Yeah, I became more confident about life. I also became more content about death, from the sense of like,
you're gonna die.
Yeah. So me being content about death changed me to become a better man, because for a long time I was scared of death, because I was embarrassed and shameful about all the haram I was doing. So I said, I don't want to be scared to die, because I'm at a point right now, at this point of cancer, where they're telling me I'm gonna die within a few months. So rather than be scared to die when they gave me a death sentence, the only way I knew how to not be scared to die is to keep reading this book and try to right my wrongs and try to give as many good deeds as possible to people. Even though I'm sick, I would hold down people who were strangers, who were more well than I was, and give to them. And that's what made me not fear death. And by not fearing death, it helped me get through and have more of a positive outlook on the life that I have. So, you know, the reason why I'm here is because of Allah. You know what I'm saying? Because in that book, you know what I'm saying? The greatest book in the world. You know what I'm saying?
So what made you like make that decision? Like, you know what, I'm gonna say the Shahada.
So there's a dude, he's from Brooklyn, and I met him out here. He owns like a shop I used to get like my supplements from, you know, to kind of put in my body to, you know, boost my
protein, or like
no, like sour sop stuff, like, you know, like stuff to kind of build your immunity and antioxidants and stuff like that, to, you know, get your levels up. So we would talk, and I know he was a Muslim dude, and we would talk.
Black dude?
Nah, he was born Muslim. Yeah, he was born Muslim. He's out here on the east side. And, you know, me and him were mad cool. There was a good energy when I came in, and when I met him, I was going through the cancer. And we got to talking. He was from New York already, from Brooklyn, so we started vibing. But I noticed the way he went about things was different than most people I knew. And I admired that, and his energy.
So?
I don't even know how to explain. It's just his demeanor and his energy. You're like, I don't trust a lot of people. You know that? Like, so like, just because vibes really tell me a lot. It don't mean I'll disrespect you, but I'll just fall back. I observe for a little bit. But his energy was so beautiful. And I knew he was, you know, Muslim. So I felt comfortable enough to talk to him after I beat cancer. And I started opening up more. And I said, look, I knew he could take me somewhere. So I asked him, and I said, I'm thinking about it. He was like, there's no pressure, you know what I'm saying? But he told me the first thing is like, you talk to God and see, you know, talk to him what's in your heart. Like, and that's the thing I admire. He never tried to force me to go somewhere, nothing like that. And he said, you know, if you think about it and you're ready, let me know, give me a call. And I told him I'm ready, but, you know, I want to go there. And he said, the one thing I want to tell you, if you're ready, you know, then don't hesitate. If you're not, think it over. So, and that kind of made me go that day, because he said, if you know and you know in your heart of hearts, then go. If you're not sure, then wait. And it was good advice. I went that day and got a lot of support. And here's the most awesome part about me doing that. I never knew what true brotherhood was like until that day.
Wow. Yeah.
All my years of living, all my years of going in, there's no shade at anything, but these are just facts. All my years of going to different churches and stuff like that, I never knew what true brotherhood was until that moment. I knew what conditional brotherhood was from the sense of it looking a certain way to appeal to a certain thing, but I never knew what true brotherhood was like. And to experience a journey of me seeking true humility, never thought that experience would be like this. And searching for true humility now is actually attainable, where for me personally it was impossible not embracing Allah. So because there is true humility, and I'm gonna be forever in the process of attaining it, but at least now I know it's attainable because it wasn't before.
Yeah, that's what they say. Like, I mean, you even look at most Muslim countries like Pakistan, they treat their guests like family. Like, you go into somebody's house as a guest, they're like giving you food, they're like doing
I went to your house, right?
Yeah. That's a prime example.
I ain't want to go, like I never felt like it got me overwhelmed in such a good way, like, you know, and I never really experienced that before on the other side. I was like, yo, this is...
Never been to a brown household?
Nah. Like,
it's different.
It hit a lot different. If you never had a chance, go. It hit a lot different.
If you have a Paki friend, Indian friend, like...
It hit a lot different. You might go back to your family, man, back to your house when they didn't look at them side, like, for real, this is what y'all do? Y'all need to come to Big Homie's house, man, because this ain't... they're gonna show you how to do this, son. For real, though. Like, I like making sense of humor, but, like, when I went to your family's house, bro, it was like, And my girl couldn't go at the time. She was working, but I went home and told her. And she was like, man, so, like, I was ranting and raving about that. But
you got to get your girl come for dinner,
Oh, yeah. That's my Pakistani family, man. It's like mom and pops, for real. And they embraced me. And it's just like... That always feels nice, you know. You don't, you know, anybody who knows when they get embraced, you know when it feels real and when it just feels like, oh, this is cool, rather than this is mind blowing.
The next episode, and I didn't know it was gonna be this short.
Oh yeah.
But the next episode, I'm with Salman. I think I'm gonna talk about family, because he's a guy that really, when I met him, he always put his family first. Like, he would have. Like, when I would try to set up sessions with him, he's an audio engineer, and I used to be an artist, and whenever I would try to set up sessions, he'd be like, hey, I can't do Sunday because Sunday's family day. And I really respected that.
Oh, yeah.
Because not a lot of people have one day to just hang out with their family.
Yeah, I noticed that, like, when you said that, there's a sense of when you're in business, especially with music, is that a lot of artists, that there's no set of principles. Like, that they have boundaries with your business and, you know, your family is how you're going to get more blessings in your business. But some people think, you know, they watch certain things of these guys online who are established to think that they didn't, like, you have to have those boundaries and principles, and you will get blessed. If you take care of your family, you'll be blessed with your profession if it's meant to be. So,
another thing I wanted to talk to you about is you were one of the only people when I was deciding if I should quit music or not. Because people are watching this, I did make music, and some of you might know. You were one of the only people that encouraged me to quit, and it was strange because music is your life. Like, you're a producer, artist, like, you're a really good producer. I'm not just trying to stroke your... I'm just saying, like, I've heard his beats, like, and even hearing his beats, low-key kind of made me want to start rapping again. But then what you said to me was
I don't play you nothing no more.
Thanks.
But here's the thing about that. Like, when you told me, look, you've proven to me that, you know what I'm saying, that, no pun intended, that you have a sound mind. Shout out to sound mind, you know what I'm saying? Plug. But you've proven to me that you have a sound mind, and that, like, the decisions you make, and I didn't need to know that much, but I knew somewhat without you saying, because I feel like we're connected in some kind of way emotionally, to know that you were going through some changes and growth. So if somebody decides to stop doing something, no matter what it is, whether I disagree with it or not, unless they're doing something that I know is deliberately ruining themselves, I'm going to support because I don't know your journey. I don't know what Allah has for your life, or somebody I know who's not Muslim, but I don't know what God has planned for them. So if it's not damaging them, I think this world wants to give too much advice and opinions are based on what they would do, but it's not you. So I support it because at the end of the day, I love you more than your music. You know, you did beautiful songs and I love your stuff, but deeper than that, there's the music and there's the persona of the music, and then there's you. So there's 3 separate entities in that. And at the end of the day, when it comes time for musicians, it's very privileged to actually meet the person behind the music, because sometimes there's, not to say people are fake in what they do. There's a lot of it's the same thing with being a boxing coach's music, right? It's a lot of it's 2 prideful industries where you can get lost in so much haram, even putting out the right message, because it's these are ego-driven sports, boxing, rap. Like, these are sports that you're meant to compete. Like, rap is from the sense like boxing, like, no, ain't nobody better than you. Ain't nobody. You the GOAT. Be careful with that.
But some people say like that's kind of the attitude you got to come with.
I mean, that's the attitude that's basically been trending since it was invented. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the best, nobody's better.
I'm the GOAT. You gotta be like, you the GOAT, word. I want you to really think about, you're the greatest of all time. You the GOAT. No, there's the GOAT who made you. And I'm not talking about mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? Because there's the GOAT that made them, and I'm not talking about grandma and grandpa. There's the GOAT. Like, you know, it's good to be confident, but there's a sense between confident and humility is what I'm looking to practice. And you, like, leaving music, you know, I'm setting my own identity. I didn't leave music, but it made me think based on what you did, and you were inspiration to me to change my values when it came time to doing music and who I chose to work with. So that's how it inspired me. And I think there's the message I want to tell a lot of people. When you stop music, it doesn't mean that, you know, it should inspire you to, if music is your calling, then go do that. But I think so many people try to live on comparison. Oh man, he stopped music, man. Well, maybe I should stop. Well, if that's your calling to stop, then so be it. But if it's not, take what you can from it. You don't have to emulate this man's lifestyle to get inspired.
I mean, if it's in your heart to do music, I'm not going to tell you to stop. But just from my experience, my personal experience, me doing music, you know, eventually it stopped bringing me that happiness and contentment, and there was something missing that I only got when I came back to practice. I mean, actually, I talked about this in the last episode, the 1v1, my boy, the voiceover. I said I was never practicing Muslim till the beginning of this year. Like, I was just born Muslim, and I would go through the motions, like go to Friday prayer maybe like every 3-4 weeks,
going through the motions,
go to the Eid prayer once a year, two times a year.
So your Ramadan was this Ramadan that passed, it was life changing for you?
It was special. And man, like, I could go on for days, but I wonder, we can end this with like, what advice do you have for like non-Muslim people out there? Like, and I talked about this in the last episode too, like people who, like, they fall off the horse and then they kind of beat themselves up. Like, I was talking about relapsing, and you know, you put yourself down like, oh man, how did I do that? But you went clean for so long. Like, you got to be like, look at that as a win.
So here's my advice about that, if you want to take it. And it's not telling you what to do, but it's actually a fact, right? We live in the world. When we wake up, we're going to sin at least 10, 12 times without even knowing.
That's
sometimes. Exactly. No matter what you practice, you know, when you come out the womb, you're going to sin, period. Every day for the rest of your life, you're going to sin. And to me, whether you did this or did that, you're comparing sins. A sin is a sin, my G. So condemnation isn't the right way to go about it, but just do the best you can. And this is a message to a lot of people like me who weren't this all their lives. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean by that. I always was, but didn't make that conscious, you know, decision. So, and a lot of people we're all human beings. And the biggest misconception I had was like, oh, word, fam, like, I can't, you do this and do that. How? Like, you Muslim. When I wasn't, you know? We all human beings. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part that I think, oh, why are we judging each other? We just need to be working with ourselves and showing love to our brothers and sisters. Like, there's no comparison. If you can wake up and be a better man or woman than you were yesterday, that's your competition, period.
Yourself.
Now, you know what I'm saying? Now, I mean, from a sense of level with sports and stuff like that, you want your student to win in the fight, or, you know, but at the end of the day, if you do win, know that somebody let you win and the glory goes to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So the best advice I could give is learn humility, study it, whichever way you need to, and try to practice it every day in your life, because all the money in the world you can't take with you. But true peace will have you see the world in a totally different view. And my goal until the day that I'm not here is to work on having true peace. And I tell you, it's not easy to attain. Everything's earned. But if we could all do that, oh, man, how much more beautiful would this place be? It's beautiful now because I'm a student of peace. But imagine if we all did that every day.
I was talking about it on the last episode. I keep referencing it. But I was having a stressful day today, and I go into, like, I was having this problem, and it was stressing me out. And then I go into the mosque for the Friday prayer, and I'm just like, my heart is in the prayer. You know, recently it's been there's ups and downs in faith. Recently, prayer has just been routine. Like, I just do it as a routine. But when this time I put my heart into the prayer, like it was my last prayer, and I was in the dua, in the asking God for something. I asked him to fix that problem. And as soon as I got out of that mosque, boom, that problem was fixed. And that just made me think, like, you know what, I can't take this for granted. Like, this prayer life is like, it's a gift.
It's beautiful. There's something to point out to you. And once upon a time, you may have not went into the mosque, and you may have went to go to the studio. I think that was, but that's when we use music as a drug. And most of my life, I used music as a drug to escape something and to avoid what I really needed to go to. And I felt better for a little bit, but I noticed things kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I kept going to that fix, wondering why things kept getting worse and worse and worse, because at that point, music was a hindrance and a blocker to where I really needed to go to find, you know, my true purpose. And I don't do that much music now, but when I do it, I do it. But it's one of those things, if it makes me happy, I'll turn it on and I'll do it. But don't have the intentions I used to. And for me, honest, and I'll say this on camera, one day at a time, I just like to see myself, if it's Allah's plan, to totally not be involved with it at all. And they always say, if you haven't...
It's tough. It's because your whole life, and me too, been listening to music, been like, now I made it for like 3-4 years, and it was my life for like my whole college period. And for you, it was your whole life. Pretty much your whole life.
Longer than yours, so you know what I'm saying?
So like, quitting it is like, it's tough.
It's tough. Like, you start to question, like, yo, am I bugging? But here's one thing I will say, and I kind of I was waking up one day, and I kind of got this message when I was just laying in bed stretching. And it's the same with anything in life that you're trying to fight. So big thing for me was lust, right? And a message came down in my mind, and it said, you keep trying to fight something. You know when it's going to change, Jason? When you find something more powerful than that to benefit your life, then it organically will go away. So for me, music is organically, I used to do so many tracks a day and do beats. I don't know when the last time I touched that stuff in my crib. Organically, because another blessing came into my life that's more important. And ain't that the truth? Because the lights went out. Another blessing came into my life that was more important. And that was helping youth through being a coach. And I saw instant confirmation when I decided to do that.
It's rewarding.
So I never really said, I'm going to stop.
We were talking about youth, helping youth.
So like, me helping youth right now, organically, you know, I'm gonna say remove music totally, but I mean, I used to do this stuff all day. It was like my drug. It's not a drug, me helping youth, because I know why I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? It makes me a better person. I bless kids' lives and adults' lives, and I get blessings, and it makes me be a better man and lead by example. So it's much easier for me to kind of walk in a different light and be a better man, helping people from a coach sense than being a musician. There's no ego involved. For me, I want them to win, and I want them to succeed, and I want to become a better person. But, you know, the thought of just leaving music alone totally without something coming into me be blessed with something organically is fading. Like, I mean, I do stuff every once in a while, and the stuff I do is like for students, or I talk about the stuff that has to do with my lifestyle of boxing. But I haven't did any record that was, that's why I admire you. You never really did ratchet records. I remember one day you came to my crib before all this happened, and I was working on a record and it had some sexual connotation. I was like, yo, you want to jump? Nah, I don't do that.
But that was me at that time, because a few months before that I had a whole tape with ratchet shit.
God damn, I didn't know that. I messed you at the wrong time. Nah, that wouldn't have been good for us. You know what I'm saying? But I never heard an artist come to me and say that. Like, the beat was dope. You can't question to be like, but what I said on it, you like, some people rock was like, oh, that ain't me, but I'll jump on and say something else. You know what I'm saying? You could keep the, you said, nah, I don't do that. And I was like, man,
I'm gonna be completely transparent with the audience, is that for like 5-6 months, when my faith was at all-time high, I didn't listen to music. I didn't even feel like freestyling. My homies were like, yo, let's freestyle. I was like, nah, like, I'm not.
How did that feel to you?
At the time? Like, they say that when your faith is at an all-time high, the impure things around you just disgust you. And that's what I felt like was going on, is that anything impure I didn't want no part of. But what I believe is the devil takes his time.
Oh yeah.
So my faith was not always going to be at a high. It was always ups and downs. So when it started to come down a little bit, you know, at the 6-month mark, I started playing one song, and I was driving at the time, doing delivery driving. So it was so easy, just, you know, let me play one song, play 2 songs. And then now I'm playing, you know, Lil Baby, Drake. And
it's a whole another world, like, and it makes you feel
I'm back in it.
You listen to it when you're working out. It's just like,
and then I'm like, you know what? It's cool if I listen to 1-2 tracks, and then I'm justifying it.
I'm still a good brother and stuff. Those things twist my head so much, and it confuses me. You know what I mean? You said this once to me in a private conversation. It's just like all the good things in life are ratchet. Like, you know, it's a really boring life to, like, you know, but it's interesting is that where my life is headed, like helping people, I had to really sacrifice, because I don't really get paid that much, but I get rewarded a lot. You understand? There's abundance and then there's money. So I had to sacrifice a lot. So my life is a lot more filled with simplicity than it once was. And I love that. And I cut a lot of stuff out of my life to be able to do what I need to do to be truly happy. You know what I'm saying? So for all you people listening, you know, just know that there's a lot of people who finish off this term of this temporary life not knowing who they really are, not even exploring it, and leaving this earth with a purpose unfulfilled. That gonna be you? You better start digging deep down and get in touch with who's who in this world and who's who up there. And start figuring out who you are, so you can make a difference while you're here. Because this isn't your life, it's somebody else's plan. But if you take away the distractions and tune into that, then you know what you're supposed to do, then you'll be really happy. Instead of like, oh, all I need is this car and this and this, and I'll be at, and you get that car, and then your blessing becomes a stress, and then you complain about it and this other thing. Half of the stuff you don't need. If you were deprived from all this stuff, you'd be a lot happier, and people don't understand that deprivation equals happiness.
There was a, I don't know the full quote, I'm just gonna paraphrase it from the Quran. It was Allah saying, those who forget me, I make them forget themselves. So I was literally living that, like when I was involved in music, when I was doing other sinful things. I didn't know who, I had this alter ego, but I lost track of who I was. And when I stopped doing that and I came back to, you know, practicing, there was like the first couple months I was like, yo, who am I?
Yeah, I was the wave.
Yeah.
I was whatever the wave was.
Yeah.
And I called myself unique in it, but I was still just another branch of the wave.
Yeah.
It just hit a little different. You know, like, oh, he's unique, but I was still the wave. I wasn't me. I guess if I was truly me, it would have sounded a lot different because it wouldn't have sounded like nothing at all. You know, I would have been out in these streets helping people, and then, you know, you go back and forth, but I listen to my people do it. I don't judge them. That's their thing. I don't know what their calling is, but then it makes me want to kick a little line and go back to my past and the things I was doing and kicking back and stuff like that. So it gets tough. It gets tough.
And sometimes the stuff you did in your past, it's not good for you, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And you get that little spark.
Yeah,
I
play around just like laying down sometimes and just remembering stuff can really tempt me to go back to that life. You know what I'm saying? The fun stuff, not the crazy stuff I got locked up for. Do that kind of stuff. I ain't gonna be here.
You got any last advice?
Nah, just this guy right here, him being part of my life really changed my life and my family's life. Even my dogs like him. My dogs don't like anybody. But he's a special person if you don't know him. And if you're tuned on here by not knowing him and knowing him through a YouTube channel or podcast, get to know him. He's a beautiful person to learn about. He's a real person. Some of these YouTube people on here, a little sus. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just not who they say they are. And that's one thing about him. He's very truthful. And in this game, in this day and age with the internet stuff, it's rare. It's rare. And if you don't believe it, send him a message. He's always open and willing to build with people because this is part of his purpose, I believe. So, you know, it's good stuff.
And I want to get like a number of guests on, people that don't even have a platform. Just genuine people like you and
talking.
Salmon.
I got to see him soon. What up, Salmon? If you see this before I see you, I can't wait to hear your story on here.
Salmon's going to be dope.
Salmon. AKA was that guy. When he came to my crib that time, I said he looked like, what was that dude's name?
Chance?
Yeah, that looked like, he looked like Chance. He like a little, like light skin Chance. So I love those Salmon, man. That's he's a good dude. I don't let too many people into my house. There was that day you came with him, and his presence really blessed my whole crib. So I don't let people into my home. That's my safe haven. That's my palace. But you guys and probably one other person throughout me staying in North Carolina, period. Only people been in my homes. That's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? You, him, and like one other person. Out of all the people I met out here, there's nothing personal, but that's a personal decisions that you make. Like, you value that. Like, energy's big. So he has great energy. I invite him back over again. And I would at any place I go to. But that's when you know it's rare, because everybody respects their homes. Ain't nobody coming up in my joint, but him and Sam could come through my other mans, and that's it. Like, you know? You got to protect that, because in this wild world, when you close them doors, that's all you got. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to keep your circle tight.
Real tight, real tight. No squares in the circle, remember that.
And I think it's important, like, always have people in your circle that you want to be like them.
Yeah. Well, they were saying there's a book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. You become like the 5 people you keep around. Doesn't mean you're going to live identically like them. But if you're around people who just, like, I kind of had to cut some people off, and they took it personal, but it wasn't personal.
Yeah, it never personal.
It was personal. There's a difference. And it's kind of hard in this world because we're addicted to approval, that we want to approve or appease to them and, you know, deplete our own mental health and our own value. When it's time to move on, it's time to move on. Everybody's going to have something to say about what you do. So just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? Either way, people going to have something to say about you being yourself. But if you're somebody you're not supposed to be, people gonna have something to say about it. So
people are always gonna say something.
Just bet on you, the real you, and people gonna talk anyway. But at least you can live a life laying your head down the pillow, knowing that you're not a fraud. So, believe it or not, it's not an easy thing to do nowadays. When you look at the world, a lot of frauds out there.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Jason.
Yo, bro, thank you, man. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, y'all.
We're gonna do this more.
Oh, and,
maybe we can have another guest in the back.
That'd be nice.
I'm thinking my boy Juan. He's a real one.
Oh that's a whole.
Primo.
All right, I look forward to meeting that guy too. I heard a lot about you, Juan.
Primo, you're gonna meet him soon.
Yeah. Listen, I still rap. We could battle, fam.
Oh yeah.
Right now, we can get it popping. Right now, pull up. I'll give you the addy. Pull up. You want the smoke? Nah. It's love. See, that's where the ego comes in. But one day at a time, we working on it. Bless up, y'all.
Peace.